Film review time. Film review, you know, that type of jazz. Gonna be reviewing Bird Box, something which I never really wanted to watch, but I ended up in this corona time and with the quarantine time, I ended up smashing it on and giving it a watch. Easy content doing a review of a movie, right? Very, very simple. So I ended up watching the film. While it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, it wasn't really that good. It was good, it was fine, it was watchable. Like, it's something that I might rewatch again. But it wasn't like gangbusters. And I think that the problem I think a lot of people had with it was that there was some similarities to another film which was literally, in my opinion, a masterpiece, and a film that got shoved out the way when it came around to Oscar season a couple of years ago. And it was very similar in some ways from the marketing to that film, and that was A Quiet Place. Kraz's finest, an absolute classic in my opinion, something which is honestly so well made, and on the budget that it was made for, phenomenal, and the acting was just impeccable. It was a great film, all right? And while I say that from the outset, it sort of felt like Bird Box was in a way copying A Quiet Place, I think after watching both films, I don't think that really stands up. I think they are distinctly different films. They have similar themes, you know, slightly horror vibes, a bit sci-fi like, very family oriented, but the actual stories are different. They're not exactly super similar arc-wise and everything. So I think that from a storytelling point of view, people saying that they're like they copied one, it just, I don't think it really flies. It's just because A Quiet Place is significantly better than Bird Box. But that's not the point, all right? That's not the point. I think there are a lot of good things in this film, all right? I think that Sandra Bullock, really, really good. Not a surprise. Sandra Bullock is a good actress. She does a good job whenever she's on screen. And, like, I believe it in every single case with her. With this film, there were a couple of lines of dialogue where I was, like, taken aback with the most simple lines. Like, ooh, that one really hit, and it was like one-word lines. That was it. Just shocking that something like that can have such an impact on the story. John Malkovich was like dead John Malkovich, and I kind of loved it. The Tom, the sort of boyfriend guy in this film, was super likable. Like, they cast someone really, really good. He had a great vibe about him. You believed that Sandra Bullock and his relationship, and I think that the way he played out through the story was just to be like, that's the guy you want to be. You want to be that type of guy. And I think that was a very positive thing to show in the film, especially even though, you know, her and him weren't married or they were sort of dating, but it was more like they were providing for these kids, and it sort of felt like a family of sorts with that unit in and of itself. And then when you looked at all of the sub-story characters, the supermarket worker, I just remember him. He was, while very, very influential in the film, he had like no screen time. He wasn't in it for that long, but I distinctly remember like some of those scenes with him talking about his like book, and he was writing a book, and he worked the supermarket, and then the fish finger guy. He was the guy who yeah, that was stuff which I didn't like about the film. It was very gory in a very real way, as opposed to being like sci-fi gore. It was just real gore. It was a bit weird. I don't really understand how the sci-fi-ness actually works, how these creatures or this, like, I don't know what it is that actually affects you. Was it like a pathogen that some country did, or was it an alien that came to the planet? We don't really know. It's left very ambiguous because that sort of helps the writers get away with things that they normally wouldn't be able to. Keep it ambiguous, you get to do random shit, right? So it was weird that you could basically go crazy through screens. Like if you're watching a clip of the aliens or whatever this weird thing was, then you would go crazy. At the same time, you would not go crazy with your blindfold on, but you would also go crazy and not have to kill yourself if you were already crazy. Like, if you were already crazy, then you going crazy, you've already skipped that part, so you're just, like, enlightened. So that way, you're not really crazy, you just want to go and get everyone else to go crazy. That was a very long explanation, and I think nothing was had there apart from the word crazy said about 7 times. So we'll stop there with that specific thing. But, you know, I think the key to this film was they built characters that you either liked or didn't like off the bat. And it's something that I think TV show do very well, and I think that's one of the key parts to any good TV show, or even okay TV show. You need to have good characters. You don't necessarily even have to have a good storyline, but if you have good and well built out characters, you can make something work here. And I think that all these characters didn't really have storylines coming into this. It was just like picked off people from random places and put them together, and it sort of made something. So I think that overall, very odd concept for a film, but this type of weird vibes is what's happening now. I think it's sort of like one studio found out that one studio was making this type of weird concept film, and then they said, we'll make one. So Netflix was like, we'll make one. And then it sort of became a challenge. It was like the Bird Box challenge, where like memes become real life. You know, memes, stupid memes become stupid real life. And people started blindfolding themselves where they probably shouldn't be blindfolded. And then like stuff happened, and eventually people stopped doing it for all the right reasons, but they started doing it for all the stupid reasons. So I guess it's sort of like this film. You go outside, you blindfold yourself, just the opposite. Someone's going to get hurt, and it's probably going to be you who's blindfolded, right? I thought the film was pretty predictable though in a lot of ways. It wasn't like you couldn't see things happening because of the way they set up the film. But even with that, and with it being predictable, it was still suspenseful. Like, there was that aspect of like you being like, oh shit, are they gonna make it out? Even though you really kind of knew they were gonna make it out at different aspects and points of the film, it did still have that type of off your seat type of feel, even though it probably shouldn't have done. But that's the thing when you're watching a film and the filmmaking works and it just clicks right. Even though you know it's going to happen, you're still emotionally invested and you're still there. So while it wasn't a great film, it was an interesting film. And the only thing I didn't like about it, and this is like heavy spoilers, the like doctor at the start of the film, who's like helping Sandra Bullock with her pregnancy, the gynecologist, is Kaz just like at the end of the film. And this is spoilers, I said now, so like take it for what it is if you haven't seen this film. For some reason, this same doctor who was at the same hospital that Sandra Bullock was at, is at this like other hospital, except in like the woods and off a river randomly. It sort of doesn't add up. I don't like stuff just being conveniently placed there just for the sake of it. And the doctor being there was honestly so unnecessary. It was just to link the two things back together, and I think it was just weak. It was one of the few things that actually annoyed me in the film, as well as Tom being so jacked. Like, I get it, at the start of it, the guy is like ripped, and I believe it, and it's there. But like 5 years later, I don't see how mans can be that fit and like yoked. He can't be yoked because he hasn't been doing the dumbbells and the barbells and the curls and all the things. He hasn't been doing it. The max he can do is like body weight exercises. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't think you can get to the size he was with just body weight. I could be wrong. I could, but I don't know if I am. I don't know. So that one annoyed me a bit, but I was like, you know what? He's yoked. What do you want? You want him to be not yoked? I prefer him to be yoked than not yoked. It sounds like I'm talking about eggs here. I'm not. I'm talking about Bird Box and men being yoked. But then the doctor thing, really, that was the number one thing which annoyed me. It was just a bit too blasé, and it didn't really make sense. It didn't add up, in my opinion, for the doctor to be at the Blind Institute just for the fun of it. I didn't like it. So other than that, though, the film sort of wrapped up in a way which kind of made sense. I don't know how they would have kept on surviving where they were unless they set up like blind farms, and they had farms inside the facility, and then that's how they were self-sustaining or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. Interesting film, okay film, fun film in some ways, dark film, very dark. I'm saying words here, just throwing them out. Dark. It was a dark film. It really was. People you didn't want to die died. People you wanted to die died. So yeah, if you like these types of horror, suspense, sci-fi films, then this is probably one for you. But don't go in expecting it to be like as good as A Quiet Place. I'm not saying it is like A Quiet Place. I'm saying a lot of people said it was, and that's why I didn't want to watch it. It's not like A Quiet Place, and it's not as good as A Quiet Place, but like, take from that like what you will. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there if you didn't. If you didn't, then John Malkovich himself will come after you. Now, woo! I know, you don't want that. You really don't want Malkers coming after you. It's Krazzers, John Krasinski, it's Malkers, John Malkovich. You don't want him coming after you, right? You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. Now, I've been NarendraTheComic. You've been great, and I'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. If you don't know, make a video every single day. Been doing it for over 2 years now. We ain't stopping until we get to 10,000 subscribers. So subscribe, lads. Subscribe. Hit the button. Hit the bell. You don't need to hit the bell. You can, but like hit the button. The subscribe button. #1. Get it done. #1. Get it done. There you go. Hit it. Be really, really great if you could subscribe. Good. Because I'll be here again. I'll be here again tomorrow with some more quality shitty content. Because it's just like, if it's not something, it's something else. And if it's not something else, then it's the other thing. And there's always a video to be made on something, something else, or the other thing. You know, that's just how it goes. So I'll be here again tomorrow because I'm hashtag never not here. Because, as it's pretty self-explanatory, lads, I'm never not here. If I'm being here for over 2 years, every single day, making a video every single day for over 2 years, and we ain't stopping until we get 10,000 subscribers, then inherently, like, I'm not going to not make a video tomorrow. It's just sort of the rubric. It's sort of how it works. If the deductive reasoning is there, then like the video is going to be here, like tomorrow, as well as today. So I'll see you tomorrow because I'll be here with some other type of content. See you tomorrow. Skadoosh.